bring your, make a hand sign that's not subtle because I have my glasses on. I'll get them on later so I can see you. Now you're a gentle blur. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another, what I'm sure is going to be a beautiful performance by a wonderful trio of musicians put together by Sam Newsome. Reggie Nicholson is here on drums, and Hilliard Greene on bass, and then we're going to see the work of Amir Bey, the art of Amir Bey. So enjoy this evening.
10. Keep going. 10 more. Okay. So, for those of you out there in Streamland, I stream of Genie. I couldn't help myself. We're not that group of Pieces of a Stream, you know, out of Philadelphia. Yeah, okay. If you're gonna stream big. Stop me, I got a million of them. Hilliard Greene on bass. Mr. Reggie Nicholson on drums. And yours truly, Sam Newsome on soprano saxophone. For the wonderful images of Amir Bey.
Oh, thank you, Sam Newsome, Reggie Nicholson, Hilliard Greene, and Amir Bey. And we'll be back in a minute with our conversation for tonight, and who knows what's going to happen. So come back. But while you're waiting for us to set up, donate, 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 donate. It's really important. It really helps. You know, we want to continue to bring this music to you in a better and better and stronger each week.
like a crooner.
Huh? You should be at the seat, man. You're leaving.
It's all right.
Nobody can see a smile.
Well, I can sit and I'm short, and that'll even it out. All right. Now I feel higher. Oh, well. Okay. All right. Are we on? We're on? All right. Well, welcome back. It's been a beautiful evening so far. And now we're going to get to talk to these great musicians and understand, we'll get a little insight into what's going on behind the music, inside the music, right next to the music, and in front of the music. All right, so let's talk about. Should we start talking about the music itself, or do you want to talk about the band?
Yeah.
Let's talk about the music.
They're all interrelated.
Of course they are. Of course they are. You got to talk into your mic though, otherwise no one's going to hear you.
They're all interrelated.
All right, so what is the music you were? How did you hear the music that you presented tonight? How did you feel it? What was it about? What were you going for tonight?
I guess for me, whenever I play, and I can't speak for the rest of the band members, but yeah, I basically, I guess, improvise going into the, with the understanding of my first goal is to just stay out of the music, stay out of the way of the music. You just kind of let it be what it's going to be. Like, don't judge it. Don't really have any set of expectations. You know, just sort of embrace the moments as they unfold. You know, so when I'm playing with these guys, and I'm fortunate enough that I have members like Hill and Reggie, you know, I feel like I can play anything and they'll make it sound good. They'll make it sound musical. So that gives me a certain amount of confidence that I don't have to second guess myself. Because sometimes when you're improvising, you know, you get a sense of insecurity, you know, because you might think, oh, wow, is this happening? Or, you know, I'm not sure if this is working. But I feel like when I'm playing with these guys, it's just, I feel like I can just, you know, just trust that the music's gonna go where it needs to go. And sort of, if I can just sort of stay out of the way and sort of treat I guess the moments of inspiration as sort of a compass that sort of guides me to wherever the music is going, rather than going into it with a map in a destination. You know, I just let the music do the driving, and I'm just sort of in the passenger seat.
I love that.
Sam, you said it all, man.
Yeah,
Nothing else to say.
Yeah.
No, it's been great working with Sam because he has so many different textures and colors that we could play off of and generate the energy from based on what he's playing and how he's playing. So, you know, that's the whole flow and the spirituality of this music is how we connect and how we listen and how each texture just unfolds naturally. And that's the beautiful thing about this trio, the freedom of it all.
Yeah, what's also is because like both Reggie and Sam are like really good musicians, really well-developed musicians who have a lot of experience. And so it's, whenever they do something, it's, you get that feeling that it comes from something that they've been doing for 10, 20, 30, 40.
Okay, all right, TMI.
Your hairline is showing.
You all get the idea.
Yep.
But they're doing so, it just like, it gives you,
For the last 5 years. say.
yeah, for like, good 5 years, good 5 years.
Yeah, good,
And
good.
so it gives me inspiration and also stuff to draw up on, and also sparks my imagination and my musical intuition.
Well, I thought it was, I thought it was a very beautiful set. And I also, it's cheap, words are cheap. But I'm trying to get behind that kind of words. And one of the things that you're talking about, where Reggie referred to, and is like all the colors and the textures. And I think that's kind of specific to you to both, specifically to you, Reggie, and to Sam. I think a bass is it's not exactly the same thing as, but, so let me just bear with me. I mean, and I think that that's like I hear some musicians really love that, and that's their entry. Like everyone has a different entry into where they're going. And that's what I'm just telling you what I observe, and if you're comfortable with that observation.
No, you're absolutely right. It's the moments, you know, I mean, you got to listen. I mean, sometimes people get overwhelmed when improvising and forget to listen to each other.
I know.
You know, so if you don't listen to each other, it's just you know, what they call it, cacophony or something.
Cacophony?
Yeah, that's it. And the point is that you got to listen in order to make that entry and come out of it too. So that's the whole magic of it all.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think also what makes the chemistry between us work is that all three of us, I think, have a very strong traditional background, so we can draw, from the earlier parts of, you might say, the more conventional, moments of the music and sort of take it into more experimental realms. So I think when we're communicating, the language that we're using to communicate is coming from a very similar place. So that makes us always in a place, I think, where we respond in a way that I think we need to respond, or it warrants the right response.
Well, it helps to speak the similar language.
Yeah, because when you get into more experimental or improvised music, not everyone is coming from the same. Because I'm talking about this guy. I remember you mentioned points of entry. Because when you're playing with, I guess, experimentalists, sometimes they're coming at it from a classical perspective. Maybe they're coming at it from maybe a world music, but that's a general term. Sometimes traditional jazz, rock, so it's not always the same language that you're speaking. But I think we're all sort of coming from the same type of, traditional jazz musical vernacular.
Yeah, but you're also color texturalists. Just saying, you are both. You are all color texturalist. I just made that expression up.
You're like painters, like Amir.
Yeah, and because I don't want to leave Amir out. Actually, I usually talk about just the music and then talk about the art and the music, and so I want to let's bring that in, because we've been now presenting art every Tuesday and Thursday since the beginning of this month, and it's every time it's different, and I feel like we're all going on this journey together. So, Amir, why don't you just, it's not like you haven't done this before in different ways.
Well, one thing I kept feeling really was, I kept thinking about movement. Like, I was thinking about the rhythm, like dancing, like the rhythm of the bass. I was thinking of, okay, and then what the drummer was making me do. And then finally, the improvisation of the saxophone. So I was really thinking about, because I do, performance, but, so that's how I was getting into it. And then, I make instruments. I do installations and they're instruments. So as I was telling Sam, I said, well, I've heard of multi-instrumentalists, but he plays multi-instruments. Because he's got like the saxophone, he's got the bells, and then when
balloons.
He had something at the bell of the saxophone there, like 3 different things were going on at the same time. So that was one thing that I was thinking about, just those things, movement, and then also like instruments, making instruments.
But what do you think? What do any of you think about that? I'm on an experimental journey in the presentation of this, because I believe that all art is related. It's it's more, visual art is more visual, and music is more aural. And I'm a dancer, so it's movement too, and I love that
That's
dancing.
visual too.
Thank you for the dancing analogy. But it's really that seeing music as painting. Does that open up anything for you?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically it. Is oral painting, you know, I mean, in terms of improvising, you know, as a percussionist, you know, it's the different colors that you use. It's just like painting. The artist using this specific colors, you know. You know, a lot of cats, you know, drummers talk about the cymbals, and like especially Elvin Jones. He mentioned one time like the cymbals is one color, and the drums is this color, you know, as you approach it. But it's all related, you know, in terms of the expression of the art and the expression of the colors and how you present it and in the end result, you know. It's just like art. And it's the magic of art, you know, dancing, visual, audio. It's amazing.
Sorry.
No, that's it. No, basically.
Yeah, I think when we improvise, there's a part of the understanding is like, okay, there's notes and scales and all that kind of thing, the technical aspect of it. But at a certain point, you get used to using those tools to make something that's almost visual. It's audible, but it's almost visual. It just makes different shapes, something different to look at, something different to feel.
Yeah, well, and with Amir's work there, that's what we're trying to share with with you, the viewer, that so they could see a little bit of the music as form and color and shape. And I think this coming together is something that I hope we all inspire each other, because I actually think it is a direction. I think it's not something it's the thing about being an artist is that we've never finished figuring it all out, what it is to be creative. We're like in process, yeah?
It's constantly.
Yeah.
It's never ending.
Yeah.
One thing I've been doing with my painting, because this lockdown, I couldn't ship. I've been working a lot with copper, and my suppliers were not shipping. This is like in March and April. So I have all these wonderful brushes that I brought back from Japan, and I have a lot of ink. I had over 1,000 feet of paper. And my first 10 days of the lockdown, I didn't go outside even, but I started doing these scrolls. And just the motion of the brushes and the liquid, coming out, squirting and jumping out of the brush is very improvisational. There were surprises, and and then some of the results were like scary, if you know what I mean. Like you look at something, what is that? And so that's the lockdown. Then really brought me into painting more than I had been doing.
Okay. Yeah. No, it's been interesting being in not doing gigs like we used to. And just being able to spend more time with my instrument at home. I've been able to develop, you're making me think about it, but I've been able to develop in certain ways musically that I hadn't, and I've been able to do things, work on things technically that I normally don't have time to do. But it's ultimately going to enhance the music because I'll have more to draw from. And I just remember something Cecil Taylor told us. Yeah. You make up your own exercises. That's what keeps you creative. I was just like, when he said that, I was like a deer in headlights. It seems like obvious, but I was just like, wow.
So clear, huh?
Yeah, right.
I guess for me, I've been, I'm I guess you'd call it a hobbyist. Like I always find things to sort of spark my creativity outside of music, because I find that that gives me more inspiration. You know, it enables me to see the creative process from a different perspective. And I mean, in fact, that's how I got involved with working with balloons, because one of my hobbies at the time was balloon twisting. You know, so I would just practice making different balloon sculptures. So, and that led me to trying to find a way to integrate it with my music, because I always thought, man, I spend so much time working with balloons, it'd be nice if I can sort of bring this aspect of my creativity to the bandstand. And I think and since the lockdown, I've actually been practicing, not practicing, but exploring fiction writing.
Wow.
Because I guess with that, what's very interesting is that, because I always feel like the way that we perceive life, and you know, whether it's things that happened before, things that are happening now, or things that are happening in the future, it's all sort of determined by stories that we tell ourselves. So it's like, as humans, we're just constant storytellers. You know, sometimes they're true, sometimes they're not. but I always thought it'd be great to somehow sort of take that thing that's so integral to just our existence and sort of channel it in more of a positive way. It's interesting because it actually makes me even see my own thoughts outside of that in a different way. Because at the end of the day, it is just a story that we're telling ourselves.
Okay. I think it's wonderful. You know, it's okay.
You've been busy during the lockdown.
No, I'm very thankful. It sounds odd, but I'm very thankful for this period, even though it's revealed so much that is shameful, even, is the word that's coming to my mind,
What
about
has it
the
revealed?
world.
Oh, it's
What?
revealed something about the world?
Oh, yeah,
Getting-
that's what's shameful.
I see.
And,
Yeah.
but for me, what it's gifted me is with this, I just, it sort of cleared the palette. And like, all right, it's like we can really, now we have to do something different. And now we have to act from a different and we have a different playbook. We have to create a playbook, and we have to do things differently. All right, like I'm a happy person in that situation, by the way.
Right.
I mean, that's my, you know, and also but it's not about me.
Well, yeah, no, but you're right. I've been very appreciative of the time, because for me, I've been working a lot, gigging a lot, and everything. And when the lockdown happened, I just realized how much I needed a break from my routine. And then also, after I've gotten used to settle into this, break, and I've been able to work on things musically that I just don't have time, that I've been chomping at the bit to work on. But now I've had time to do it, and it feels great.
Yeah, and I think whenever there's a paradigm shift, I feel like the music always prospers at the end. Because if you think about the music industry, even from the very beginning, there's always been a certain paradigm shift that has made us sort of rethink or reevaluate just as how we're going to go about pursuing careers in music. Like if you think about in the beginning of, trying to think, like maybe the early 1900s, like the way that the way that the music industry worked was through sheet music. Like that was what propelled it forward.
Yeah.
But then when they created the player piano, everyone's like, oh man, no one's going to buy sheet music anymore. They can just buy a player piano that's going to buy a piano roll, and that can play it for you. But what that did is like that made more people buy sheet music. And then the same thing kept happening with the phonograph. Oh, everybody buy the record. Who's going to go hear music live? Who's going to buy the? But they all sort of helped each other and just kept going, all the way up until digital downloads. Everybody. Oh, the music industry is dead. But then there are more people consuming music now than ever before. They may not be paying for it, but they are consuming.
Yeah, right. That's right.
We have access to be able to reach people from all over the world.
I love you, Sam, but
But what?
But just saying. Yeah, it's not all a pretty picture. And I don't know about back then, but
What's
I
not a
can,
pretty picture?
well, just let me just leave that one there.
No, no.
I- what's not a, it's not a pretty picture what's going on, what has happened in the music industry. They keep on telling you, oh, you can get everything on the internet. And you can, but you're, if you don't deal with the algorithms, and are you ready to deal with algorithms? I mean, is a great artist prepared to deal with algorithms?
Well, I think as a
And so then what people can get, what they can get access to, even if they're not willing to pay for it, they don't find stuff of substance unless it gets support, I mean, from something that they have learned that's where they get their food from, their musical food or their art food or what.
But I think you're taking what's available now and you're putting it in sort of this record industry construct, where it's like they take things and then they spend a lot of money and sort of not con people, but they sort of persuade people into buying it. So it's like your competitive edge becomes from just the amount of exposure you're able, or at least they were able to buy. But I think what makes today different is that it is, for the most part, it is somewhat democratic in that I can, like, there's nothing stopping
Someone
me
else.
from taking, recording my music. There's nothing stopping me from uploading it to YouTube. There's nothing stopping me from putting out CDs, as many as I want. I can get the tape from tonight and have a CD ready, next week. I mean, when I first moved to New York, that was impossible. You had to get a manager who would talk to the record label person, or get the lawyer to talk to the record label person. Then they talk to the lawyer, and they talk to your manager. Then hopefully they will let you record your music. But now we don't have to go through this sort of filtering system just to get our music heard. Whether or not it meets millions, that's another question. But who needs to reach millions all the time? Sometimes you just need to reach the people who have an interest in what you do.
Well, I think there's certain benefits at this time. I mean, there's always certain like avenues and options, at any time. But right now, like, I mean, just for myself, I've been able to work much more. I'm always working. So, but what it is like, for instance, they were trying to tell everybody, if you don't feel good, don't go outside. That was so wise and so humane that most people never think, if I don't feel good, I'm not going outside. Most people force themselves, and so as a result, they tear themselves away from things that they need to do. In terms of technology that is assisting people at this time, I think that's very good. I've seen, like, for instance, musicians that I know, I see them using stuff that creates a studio in their home instead of going to New Jersey or somewhere to record. Instead, they're doing that in their home, and then it's a different type of collaboration with other musicians, for instance, with using different formats. But the only problem for me, I mean, as a visual artist and also as somebody who performs, is that, well, there's no audience. The venues are limited. If there's an opening, it's 5 people are allowed in the gallery at a time. But I feel optimistic, really. The reason why I feel optimistic is, well, the orange devil is no longer in the White House. Yes. And our options, and our options have improved with that, and there's some kind of stability. And so as long as artists can keep on producing and expressing, then we're going to contribute to the flow and the direction of things.
The main thing is really be satisfied with yourself, how you're creating music and getting involved. Because at this point, no one's going to get rich. You got to have richness from within to produce your art and find some way to share it. Because at this point, it's like, you're not going to get rich playing this music. You got to have a rich mentality to pursue what you want to do, put it out there, and just do it. And you know, the social media stuff has really got everybody hooked into that, but that's a whole other story too.
Well, I think that is essential, what you just said, Reggie, and you know, because you're not going to get rich, you need, whether you're going to get rich or you're not going to get rich, the only, and the, as long as you're paying some, you know, as long as you're engaged in the creative and being really a creative being, you're not hurting people, you're helping people. You're a goodness in this world. You're helping, you're an asset, you're a positive influence.
What comes around goes around. I mean,
yeah.
you're rewarded in another way.
And I think when you're
Right.
creating your
Right.
art, it doesn't necessarily have to make an impact at the moment that you create it. Sometimes you just put it out there, and then, you know, maybe 10, 20 years down the road, maybe people will get hip to it, you know. So I think for us, our main goal should be just to create. Document, and
Create
put it
and
out there
document.
and move on.
Keep moving.
That's
And then
true.
our art is documents. I mean, what we're producing, creating our documents. As one very crazy poet friend of mine, who's no longer with us, said, you know, we leave markers for future generations, or even future incarnations of ourselves. We leave markers, you know. So I think that that's another thing that we're doing.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time, if you put out a CD on your own outside of a record label, I mean, it was considered a vanity project, you know, just like you have CDs and your records in your garage or in your basement that very few people would get a chance to hear. But now, you know, you can put it out there.
Be your own self-promoter. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but for the
Algorithms or no algorithms.
Hey, I'm not going to
got
argue with
algorithm.
you guys, because I agree with some of what you're saying. I do think that and it's not, I'm not even talking about it from your perspective. I'm talking about it from the audience's perspective. That finding that which has value is difficult in a society which doesn't value that which has value. Just saying. And so even though you can put it out, how are they going to know where to find it when there's no one? And I don't, when I say stupid words like no one, that's crazy. But when there's just not enough people pointing the way and directing and
It's a whole new generation of people too who.
yeah,
you
and
know, I mean,
everything
the
is in
whole-
flux.
Right. So
Everything's in
Yeah,
flux.
I think everything is in flux right now. Which
yeah,
is,
Yes.
so it's,
But,
we gotta wait till
Particularly
stuff-
right now.
We gotta make sure everything
Yeah.
settles down before we make it.
Yeah, and I might be crying the blues from last week, and this is like this week it's a whole different thing, and my blues is out of tune.
But Patricia, I just want to say I think it's very important what you've done, doing, and have been doing, because I think, and the more that it gets done, and I think the more attention gets drawn to the music from your efforts and your organization. And so I just want to say thank you for that.
Yes, I'll fight for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know. Yeah, I don't think you always get the credit that you deserve. So I just want to have a chance to say it.
You know, I can't do anything without you guys. There's nothing else than what am I presenting. So it's really about each artist being here and being willing to come together and share their work. And I don't do anything alone, even on the administrative side. Tonight we have Eric Robinson on sound and Zach Shirzad with the video on the cameras and the vMix and sharing it out to people. And then we have people with helping on publicity. So it's like it's a team effort, and it's really always an act of love. And although we now try to pay everyone, and you know, and back in the day, it was the only people who got paid were the artists. But you know, you can't go on 25 years and do that because people get cranky and hungry. They got bills to pay too. And the bills have been getting higher and higher. But then that's maybe the old blues. Maybe now with this new reality, the cost of living, could it come down? Could it get less expensive to live in New York?
Yeah, I'm just wondering, will it you know, landlords, they can't charge as much as they used to, I don't think. But I don't know if they'll change to a point where it'll make it feasible for artists to exist.
We'll see.
Yeah.
Prayers ascending.
Yeah. I just, you know, but I just, you know, some of the circumstances I've witnessed within this area, within Manhattan and stuff like that, it seems to boil down to a lot to greed and insensitivity to art.
Well, one thing that's happening, I mean, in terms of just the planet itself, I mean, people all over the world, first of all, are experiencing the same thing. And also the planet itself, because of, let's say, global warming, I mean, there's less things in the air that destroy the planet. And, you know, the whole, I think there's an opportunity here somehow to shift and do something and point things in a different direction.
Yeah.
So you know, every time we play music or dance or make art, we're going to try to like move that. We're going to shift the world back on course. What do you say, guys?
Well, maybe that's what we're trying to do.
Yeah, let's just shift it back on.
Maybe we don't have to shift it back. Maybe we
just shift it.
maybe we stay and we create a new reality.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, it's not going to go back.
no, nothing
Keep
goes
forward.
back. It's forward. Yeah.
Yes.
You're right.
Yeah. I just make people feel something different that they might not have felt or experienced or witnessed before.
An open heart. All right. Should I end this now? What do you guys? Is this
Never an end.
That was it was sort of had a little closure sense. So thank you for joining us, and Amir Bey, visual arts, Hilliard Greene, bass, Sam Newsome, saxophones, and other extravagances of his imagination, and Reggie Nicholson on drums. And thank you all for joining us, and see you next time. And don't forget, donate.